once upon a time, I decided to get a second college degree at Brookdale Community College in my infinite wisdom.
Of course.
I didn't have enough debt.
Yeah.
I wanted to go for a second
Or enough
degree.
toilet paper.
A second degree, which I also have not done anything with. So there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fool me once.
Yay me. So I went to this community college, and there was a film course available, and I said, "Fuck yes!" I got to watch movies.
I can get college credit for watching movies.
I got to watch movies.
Sign me the fuck
I got
up.
to write about them. I enjoy writing, always have. So I signed up for that. Took this class. We watched a bunch of movies. We were given assignments to do film analyses on these movies, and at the time, I was writing a blog called the No Seatbelt Blog. So it's another corpse in my graveyard of abandoned creative projects. So it's defunct, no longer happening.
Do you still own the .com? Does it still exist?
Do, and
okay.
So I'll get to that.
Okay.
I'll get to that. So
it's a lot of them.
I graduated from this community college in 2017. I probably took this class in 2015. 2015, I want to say. And out of the blue on my personal Instagram page, I get a message from that professor who taught the film study class. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Hey, listen, these papers that you wrote and you put on your blog, like I did some investigative work and I tracked you down. So I had posted these papers that I did. I was really proud of them. I worked hard on them. This is one of those classes where you do several drafts of the paper and you tweak them and
sure.
you make them great. And I did. And
really that website was also kind of like free form blog. Like you were writing about whatever.
Free form blog. I was just kind of writing about.
Hence the name No Seatbelt Blog.
Movies
was just
and
like
music and
Ryan Unhinged.
Ryan Unhinged.
So why not put these to use? Because it's just like I wrote a sweet ass paper about this movie.
Right.
Let me now share it with everybody.
So I just, not thinking anything of it after the semester was over, I posted these to my blog. And out of the blue in December of 22 or maybe January this year, I get a message from that professor in my inbox in my Instagram. And he's like, "Hey, listen, do you think that you can take those papers off of your blog?" Because he's like, people have been plagiarizing those. My students have been plagiarizing your papers ever since.
For years.
For years. This is going on probably about 7 or 8 years now. And
what an ego boost, though.
Yeah, no, and I was like, "Oh man, this is awesome." But at the same time, I was like, "Well, you're welcome, fuckers, for taking my work and just literally handing in my exact paper."
Yeah, right.
Is essentially what he was telling me they were doing. They weren't picking out little pieces. They were just
or not even like rewriting.
They were looking up like film review for whatever movie and first page on Google.
You're like, "This is awesome.
Somehow
I'm going to turn this in."
Still showing up. And he's like, "This is great. I'm just going to turn this in." So people have just been turning in my papers that I did. And he's like, "I've just been kind of dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to ruin anybody's life over this. I mean, plagiarism is serious, but
right."
He's like, "I'll give them a 0. Like, if you want to resubmit, you can go ahead and resubmit."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "But listen, it would really help me out if you would just take these down so they stop showing up on Google." And I was blown away by this. I'm like, I abandoned this blog years ago, maybe in 2018 or
probably
so.
by the end of 2015.
Yeah. So I was like, people are still finding this? How?
Right.
Like, I forgot about this altogether. Like I didn't even remember doing this at all. And so I did it. Like I had to really rack my brains to even figure out my password for that WordPress blog. And it was just the craziest thing that out of the blue, I get this message, and he's like,
"Yeah, hey, hope you're well. Listen,
hope you're well." Yeah, that was kind of how it started.
Yeah.
He's like, "I tracked it down, and this is what's been going on."
I keep running up against this
all these years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because I ended up asking him. I was like, "You said you've been just kind of dealing with it. So how have you been dealing with it?"
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of told me, it was like, I just was like, I know where they're getting these, and I pull them aside and give them one chance to resubmit and actually write their own paper.
Right.
And I was like, wow, I'm sorry. Like I didn't think anything of this. I didn't think anything like this would happen.
Was there a part of you that wanted to just say thanks but no thanks?
I mean, if I was still doing that blog and I was like really making something of it, and at that point, like I would be like, oh, I don't know.
because I'm getting a lot of views off of this. I don't know if I want to ruin my.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to ruin my momentum here. And these were great, and people are still like commenting on them, but that wasn't really. I'm getting
a lot of clicks through my Amazon banner.
So I was like, I don't want to give this guy a hard time. Like, I really enjoyed your class. Like, I liked you as a professor. Like, sure, I'll do you the favor and just take these down, off this blog that I'm not doing anymore anyway.
Right.
But it just blew me away that.
That's
people
crazy.
Are digging this up and just turning them into their class.
That even shows up on page 1 of Google results.
Right.
Like they didn't have to dig to find it.
They didn't have to dig. It's right there. Like
that's
still.
That's just stupid. That's also like stupid on their part.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
how are you going to plagiarize something off of the first page of Google? You got to go at least 10 or 12 deep. Like,
and it probably wouldn't have been found out as soon if they were just maybe taking like little sentences here and there and being like, oh, that's a good idea. Let me like just
let me reword this.
Or reword
like
this
is
bit.
Cliff Notes. Let me find a way there.
Apparently, they were just copying the paper and just handing it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like the way it was.
Literally verbatim, like copy and pasting the paper.
And he was like, I figured it out pretty quickly, and I've just been kind of dealing with it. I was like, well, why have you been dealing with it for this long? Like, that's crazy to me. But you never know. Like you said, you never know who's watching.
You never know how shit's going to be found. Years later, no less.
Later. Yeah.
That to me is the crazy thing, is that you don't know kind of what gets. I mean, I still, anytime I get a like we still have an active Instagram account. Well, it exists. That's how I define active for
it's active in
for the old show. And there'll still be likes that pop up on occasion for different posts. I'm like, well, that's got to be a bot. And it's not.
Right.
And I'm thinking, I think the last post was a post for Father's Day in 2020. And that was only because we'd done 2 Zoom episodes of Cape, the 4 of us. So that's the only reason I thought to even post on that account, because I think I must have tagged it at some point, probably when promoting the episodes we did of this show. And those still get likes, but nothing's been posted in nearly 3 years, and there will still be likes on occasion on those, which is like...
So it's still popping up somewhere.
It's still getting in someone's feed, which I find bizarre, because I'm like, this is from 2020. Like the idea that's still there is... weird, because again, my assumption is just like, well, that's a bot account, and I'll click just because I'm curious. I'm like, oh no, this is an actual person. You can tell, obviously, fake account from another.
You've been on social media long enough, you can tell.
Yeah. It's like it's not 89 posts in the last 3 days.
Yeah,
you'd be like, oh, there's a whole life.
You have this account that you're not posting on anything on anymore, and it's just kind of laying there dormant, and people are still finding it.
Yeah. And then meanwhile, the stuff I'm actively putting out that's getting a lot of likes and a lot of shares is still getting like 300 views. I'm like, how's that possible?
Right.
How does that happen? This thing has 54 likes. Like there was a reel I put out recently, one of the clips from Best of 2022, and it had like 56 likes in 2 days. And it hadn't even cracked 300 views. I'm like, why is this not getting recommended? People are like a high percentage, but what's that? 1 out of every 5 people who views it, likes it. Why isn't that getting recommended? Like that's a pretty strong ratio when it comes to like engagement. I don't know what you're looking for, TikTok.
Well, people are finding bullshit that was done years ago on a platform that we're not using anymore, or
on a website that hasn't been used.
Anymore.
Yeah, it's very very strange. But I think it's funny that people are actually using this in an academic way. Like also not knowing it was necessarily submitted for this class. That is kind of the bizarre thing.
Exactly.
That it was for the exact same class, and that's what you wrote these papers for.
Right.
Like, what are the odds?
What are the odds of that?
Because did you have a bio or anything on that website, which is like New Jersey, recently graduated from Brookdale for yet another degree?
I put something on there for the English class that I did. I had a professor who was just fantastic. He really helped me out with writing and
inspired you.
Really
in
enjoyed
part.
my work and inspired me.
Right.
So I kind of plugged her on the website, and
but no mention of this film class.
No mention of that. But it was so crazy to me that after all this time, and I saw his name and I was like, I remember exactly who you are. Yeah, like I remember that class and I loved it, and I'm so sorry. Like I didn't think this was something like this would happen.
That's the other thing too. You don't want to be a dick just for the sake of like, hey, this is my website. And again, it'd be different if you were actively using it, but this is something you haven't touched in 4 to 5 years.
Right. Yeah.
So like, why leave it up there?
I don't want to torture this guy.
Yeah.
And have him keep dealing with this while his punk students plagiarize.
And they're movies you enjoyed for the most part.
Yeah.
So like all the more reason like, no, watch it and write about it.
Right.
It's good for you.
Yeah, it's good for
Look what it did for me. I did a blog briefly.
Yeah. Fuck you.